Welcome to Everybody Eats. This is Star Talks. This is episode 3, and we're gonna be discussing episode 4 of the Obi-Wan Kenobi limited series. We're down 4, and there's 2 left to go. Abi, welcome to the show. This is your first time on. What were your general thoughts?
My favorite episode so far, I think by a long shot. I think it's very much. It felt very focused instead of like building up the grand picture of what the show's supposed to be. All the introductions are out of the way now, and it was like a full infiltration episode. Deborah Chow is a great director for this. Like all the shots, all the angles were really cool. Love how she plays with lighting with the lightsabers. Yeah, definitely my favorite one yet.
Yeah, I mean, I would say absolutely with like all the lighting and everything. I know we were talking a little bit before the recording of this. That moment where he's rescuing Leia and he turns his lightsaber on, kills one of the stormtroopers real quick, turns it off real fast. Very very clean, very smooth. It felt very very Fallen Order to me, and I'm seeing a lot of remnants with this episode and that kind of like thematic technique rather. I do like how they're kind of following the monomyth, Joseph Campbell's monomyth. This one very much felt like entering into the belly of the whale, and now at the end of this, by the end of the episode, they have a victory, but ultimately it's literally proven to be a false victory, like immediately by the end of that episode. So I'm excited to see like where they take it. But overall, like this episode and like the one before then, like it's definitely like okay. I feel like for the third episode, that episode, like I feel like they got all the stuff they need to out of the way, right? Their introductions, like you were saying, but like that episode was like, this is the story that we're telling. It's a story about Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi, and we're gonna deal with that dilemma, right? And that moral conundrum between those two ideological spectrums, right? And I think Reva is doing a really amazing job of being that one that's kind of in the middle, of that spectrum. You know what I mean? Funga,
Yeah.
what do you think of it?
Yeah, I agree with both of you. I 100% agree with Abi. This is definitely my favorite episode so far. I really love Deborah Choi. I really loved her directing and staging of actors. I really loved the lighting in this. A scene when I was watching it with Eddie, that stood out to me was when the interrogation scene between her, Reva and Leia was, you can tell in certain portions whenever she was really putting the pressure on, like the red light that was there would be more, it would be more present on her face. You can tell, like, even though she's saying things that are very much like not necessarily like, at least to a kid you would think, not too insidious, you can tell she's putting way pressure on this, and it's like in a very dark tone to it, like very subtle things like that I really loved. And also just the fighting choreography in this was phenomenal. I loved it. It was just really cool and awesome to see Obi-Wan Kenobi finally use his lightsaber, and then just you could see there are moments where he's about to do his stance, like a classic stance, but it's not quite there, where it's like he's still rusty, but it's still there. The pacing of this episode was really dope. The only thing I could say that's not quite a negative, but it is like something that just didn't resonate with me, was just the emotional beat of losing that one pilot.
Wade.
I genuinely don't think we got.
It was Wade.
Was it Wade?
Wade, yeah.
Okay, well, like, I didn't remember his name.
It's like, that goes to show.
You know what I mean? It's just a lot. So,
Everyone's like flat over there, and we're just like, who are you?
You know what I'm saying? Like, that sucks, but,
Yeah. I feel like there's just so many like characters in the Star Wars mythos too, where it's like sometimes you're just gonna have characters that die off, and it's just like, it's someone else.
Yeah, God, it was them and not you,
Yeah.
And I was on the fence with episode 3. I wasn't there in the discussion we had for episode 3. A lot of my thoughts were very very mixed.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
Yeah, I at first didn't like the presentation of Darth Vader because, like, even though he was walking through the town and he was just being an evil person and just killing people, I feel like it was weird. Like, it was kind of jarring. I would have liked it more if they really, like, clearly he knew that Obi-Wan was in the town, so it would have been, to me, it would have been more impactful if he took his time choking that one dude after he pulled him from the window and then stared dead eye at Obi-Wan. It's like, this is what you made me into, and then killed him. Like, that to me, or even just making it more of like a chase or like a horror scene. Like, it's like a thriller type deal where they're going silo and whatnot. Like, this is all just like nitpicks and whatnot, but I loved what they did with Vader, even though it was such a short scene. To see visually with the camera angles and just showing the pacing, him rushing through this hallway just to choke Reva, that anger, I love that. I was just like, yes, this is the Darth Vader I wanted to see. I wanted to see a threat. Like, I want to see a defined Vader that will kill you at a second notice. Like, and it was just really, overall, I genuinely really liked this episode. I thought it was really good.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
I think same with like episode 3 for me. I felt a little mixed about, first of all, like, just because like that's the thing with A New Hope, it give you that implication that they haven't met for so long until that fight in A New Hope, and putting another battle like that in there, which is like definitely not the same level of impact as A New Hope or episode 3. Like it felt kind of underwhelming to me.
But that's understandable though, because like it's been a long time since Obi-Wan has fought with his lightsaber, and you can clearly see that like Vader was toying with him. I actually like that.
Yeah.
Vader's clearly just almost goading him to fight. Where it's like, done.
And I think something like just the show should lead up to, though, is like, for me, some reason the show doesn't make sense to me to have an arc for Darth Vader, because I think Darth Vader's arc ends in Return of the Jedi when he that completes his arc. I don't think there's a space for an arc for Vader here, but there is a space for Reva and Obi-Wan. It needs to be from the emotional toil of like Obi-Wan and what he's been going through. Like, it's like fresh off like his guilt. And that's why I think they need to focus on Obi-Wan's arc. And then I like Reva's addition a lot, like giving her like being a part of the dark side, and then also like being so close to this like emotional turmoil of Obi-Wan, and like she's so close to Darth Vader, and like she's gonna slowly understand that as the show goes along. I hope so.
Yeah. I feel like in some way, shape, or form, especially with this episode, like in the beginning, you clearly see that Reva is like, I hate the Jedi, like, and it's like a very personal thing that she's going after Obi-Wan, right? And when she was telling Leia like, no one's coming, like that seemed like when she was saying that,
and that pause on Leia's face when she repeats it again, that no one's coming, that was actually heart-wrenching.
Yeah, she killed it this episode. I think this was like Leia's best episode too.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the line where she's trying to do the Kylo Ren mind trick thing, and like Leia's like, "Do we have any staring competition?"
Oh yeah. Like they got her sass down for sure.
Oh my god, she did. That's the thing with Leia. Like, I think that's my biggest gripe. I've said it like a few times now, but like, it's a completely developed Leia. A completely developed Leia. Like, that is exactly the same person as we see in A New Hope, and I'm hoping that we're like in some way she can kind of learn a lesson. But every single time that I see her, she's always just like the hyper mature, like messy, like, and very, very intelligent, like, kind of person, And I was all like, when I first met her, it was really surprising because like I knew immediately who it was based on like her attitude and her like
temperament. Her mannerisms,
Just back itself Ron is like, I could assume. I will say just to slightly counter your point, because I agree with you. Like, for the most part, I don't really like what they're doing, but I think, well, like in episode 3, I was like assuming, and this episode, I feel like it's dead on at this point. I'm pretty sure she's a flat character arc. That's her. I'm pretty sure her entire purpose is to flush out Obi-Wan's character and to re-inspire him to be a Jedi. Like, I'm almost positive.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, which makes sense. It's just kind of disappointing at the same time because I would like to see an arc of an uncertain Leia.
Yeah.
Because it's weird to see Leia where it's like, damn, so you just knew?
Yeah, like you were born this way?
Kind of whack.
Yeah, like when was her arc? When she was like 3 years old? Like, when did this happen?
Struggling to walk? That's what
and after that, she was all good. Like, invincible.
Her first steps and then talking in soliloquies and
oh my god.
Yeah, it's crazy. So it's weird to see it, but I understand from a technical writing standpoint, where it's like,
they do it. They don't have to give her an arc. I don't think they have any to do it. I think that their arcs, the two characters with the arcs have to be Obi-Wan and Reva. And like anybody beyond that, like it would be too much to try and tackle within that limited time span. Because like I think if they actually gave this like a 3 or 4 season kind of like deal, which they could, there's enough lore to be able to do it. Like I think they would have time to give Leia a development, you know, like to develop Leia, fully fleshed Leia character. But by the fact that they're just saying we have 6 episodes to do this, let's go. You know, I think it's smart of them. I think they understood, like, let's not bite off more than we can chew. Just make Leia be fully developed, and we'll just say that the Force was the thing, like, helped her become as intelligent, as powerful as she is. You know, that's kind of like the write-off that they're using in order to make her kind of that flat character arc. But I do think that she is kind of like that person that's going to be pushing both Reva and Obi-Wan because of her flat arc, right? And that's a testament of a good flat arc character, is somebody that's able to like provide an arc to the people around them, right? And I think you guys are right. You're like that in that essence, in that vision, the character is doing a fabulous job with what she's providing to the series. Something that was kind of surprising to you within this episode?
How much it felt like Fallen Order. Honestly, just
like this is straight out of Fallen Order, 100%. And that's my biggest fear with Reva's character, I think, because it's more so, even though like that character arc was cool because Fallen Order was new, but for them to redo it for a TV show like Obi-Wan, and granted, like maybe not a lot of people who are watching Obi-Wan have played Fallen Order. I played it, but I never beat it because I don't have a fucking PS4. So it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, I understand why you would do it, but I hope you don't redo it because it works. I hope you do something new with her character. It doesn't seem like my original theory of her being one of the Padawans is the deal. And if it is, like, cool. Like, that's dope, but it doesn't seem like it's leaning that way. And I'm hoping that there is a very distinctive reason why she distrusts Jedi and hates Obi-Wan. Where it's like, it seems like it's heading more towards she really fucked with Anakin. Is really mad at, like, but it's happy that Darth Vader's here, but it's really mad at how Darth Vader became Darth Vader. That seems to be the thing that's ruminating in my mind. So I don't know. But yeah, the biggest surprise is that, like, I definitely wasn't expecting this to be as close to Fallen Order than it was presented.
Yeah. I think she's. I mean, I'm pretty positive she's gonna die. I'm almost certain that she's gonna die by the end of this season, or by the end of the year. Like, I think it's gonna be this situation where Obi-Wan is going to like she's gonna be cornered into a situation where she has to either kill him, or she has to capture him, or something like that. And she decides to she ultimately lets him go, right? And that's where Vader is gonna be like, you snooze, you lose.
For the last time.
Yeah. The scene was so great. I mean, anything with Darth Vader just being full-on Darth Vader is always like the most amazing shit to me.
Yeah.
I would say with the breaking glass scene, I loved the special effects on that.
That looked fantastic.
That was really fucking cool.
Yeah.
I loved that.
That was my favorite scene of the whole show, honestly.
Oh my god. I have one.
Loved it.
One tiny gripe with it, and it's not with the glass or like the build up to it, which all that shit was beautiful. You know, it was like as he's running back and everything, and there's not a drop of water.
I thought the exact same thing, dude. I'm like, whoa, not one splash, like nothing, like.
He's not even a little bit wet.
Like,
No.
wouldn't that would complete the scene so well, though, you know? It's like, he gets out a little drenched, you know? It's like, I don't know, was that lack of blocking, lack of, like, thinking? I don't know what it was. Like, it felt like that chunk was missing at the end of the sequence.
No, because, like, I remember watching it with Eddie, right? And I said that exact same thing. I was like, damn, not a single drop? It was just because he was so close to the water. So that's why I'm like, that doesn't make any logical sense. Did the Force be like, nah?
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna come out dry. Like, I don't understand.
He, like, force dried off screen really quick.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, hold on, one second, please. 1 second, please. Yeah, no.
Yeah. I would have liked to see that, too, something.
I mean, I think it'd be kind of cool, but like the fact that, because I feel like it would have been so much cooler to have like the doors closed and like a big like kind of like mohawk of water just going straight through it at the very end of it. I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
And they already proved that the set can get wet. That's how he got in the damn thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, absolutely. That's why it was just super weird. So I don't quite understand why
I think
that happened.
that's kind of how the show feels to me in general, though, where it's like, oh man, like I really like conceptually like what's happening, but for some reason some parts just end off without that like momentum building up to finish the scene, you know? It always leaves me just like, oh, I wish I felt more because I'm invested, but like why am I not feeling more? And it's like, I think that's like the problem with this show, where it's like, it is 6 episodes. I thought it was 8, honestly, but I didn't know 6, it's almost over. Yeah, like, but it feels like it's rushing, like, a lot, you know, to get through all this, and it's like, it's not, since episode 1, like, it's just like, some scenes are just not hitting as much as they should, like, honestly, I don't have a problem with where the show's going, it just doesn't feel executed as well as it can be.
It absolutely is feeling rushed. You have 6 episodes, and that's the thing that's kind of weird. I'm always gonna disagree with Eddie in the sense of, like, I don't think this is a series that needs to have like seasons, but it definitely needs at least 8 to 10 episodes.
That's what I'm saying. At least 8 to 10, yeah. Like
10 episodes, like
you
6 is not really enough. Like,
oh yeah, like come on, they did that with Game of Thrones and it was shit. Okay,
yeah. But then we had 5 amazing seasons though, 4 or 5.
You know what I'm saying?
5 amazing seasons.
Yeah.
Amazing from season 6. 6 was actually pretty cool.
6 is when it got. Wait, was that the Hodor season with the Hodor reveal?
I think it might have been 7.
Oh, season 6. Yeah, season. Wait.
No.
There was 8
no,
seasons?
no, that was 6. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yo, that Hodor reveal was pretty dope.
I swear, after that episode, it all went downhill. That was the last like masterful episode, and then after that, it was like, and they're all Remember when it took them like 3 episodes to get to a different continent, and they start teleporting everywhere at the end of the show? I'm like, okay, you just get rid of like what makes a Game of Thrones.
Yeah, no, you're right. It did go to shit after that Hodor.
But that was absolutely, like, they switched it to that format. I feel like if they really, like, at a bare minimum, give us 10 episodes. Give us 10 episodes. That because, like, I genuinely feel like they should have given Obi-Wan, like, 2 episodes where he's just, like, being a hermit, you know, and just doing his thing and being by himself and really trying to, like, giving that time to, like, why exactly the character.
If nothing else, they should have. If nothing else, they should have had the first episode focus solely on that one Jedi that I don't give a fuck about.
Yeah, who's played by the Safdie brother? Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, like, I don't give a fuck about him, but like, cool. Like, that's dope, the Safdie. And the Inquisitors. Like, it should have built on that, and the second episode should have just been isolated Obi-Wan. That should have just
like some of my favorite points in Star Wars is just wandering through the world. Get me invested in where the fuck we are. This show, and like a lot of the miniseries, all the Disney Plus stuff is like, it's so plot driven, man. Let me be immersed in like where we are. And this show is missing that element, and that's a huge part of Star Wars.
That's the biggest part of Star Wars, is that the reason why it's so dope was because it felt lived in. It's different from Star Trek, where you're traveling from a solar system to a solar system to a planet. You're settling on these planets, and this is how people function on these planets. And it felt so different from everything else that was being presented at the time. So it's weird that we're rushing through these worlds. Even though we've seen Tatooine, but we haven't seen Tatooine through this phase of Inquisitors chasing Jedi. I've never seen Tatooine in this aspect. So let me live in this world.
Yeah.
that have only been in this world in one episode.
Like that.
That's wild as fuck.
Like, that's why I love the intro for New Hope, because most of it is just like Luke wandering, and like buying some droids, like doing his thing, like watching the moon set, like just that is like so intrinsically Star Wars, and then the world gets broken.
Yeah.
Where's the moon shot with Obi-Wan Kenobi?
That's what I'm saying! I need it!
I need it!
I think that's like what I am really curious about, and I think this is the thing that they were obviously like the biggest hurdle that they got to try and get over, is that they got to try and raise the stakes as high as they possibly can, just so that they can land him back on Tatooine looking after Luke, right? And that's the biggest thing, right? How close can they get to like Vader almost killing him, or Vader and Obi-Wan having a full-on fight and blowing everything up? Like, how close are they going to get? And I think in these next 2 episodes, it's really going to be a big tell. I mean, obviously within each episode we find out more with it, but I'm to be honest with you, I'm just kind of bummed, because it's like there's only 2 more, man, and then like no more Ewan McGregor, man. Like I would love, like, I know Fumba's like, nah, 1 season, fam, but I'm like I feel like there could be so many seasons worth of content, like maybe not even like just solely focused on Obi-Wan, but like, it would be cool to have like a Game of Thrones style Star Wars series.
Absolutely.
Like, overarching span, like showing the politics, showing the conflict and the build up between like different factions and stuff like that. That would be amazing to see, right? And I just feel like again with Disney, they are wanting just that quick cash grab, and they're not willing to make the investment like HBO does, right? Where they're like, okay, let's put an investment in for a little while,
It feels like they pumped the narrative into the algorithm, because I already know like episode 5 is going to be Reva's backstory revealed, episode 6 is going to be, I hope I'm proven wrong, but it just feels like that, it feels like something you've seen. Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Fumba.
No, sorry, I was just saying this way is definitely heading.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say that, like, my biggest thing with this is the only reason why I feel like this works as a season is because it definitely is meant to bridge the gap in terms of how does Leia know Obi-Wan? Because if he's on Tatooine the entire time, how the fuck does he have contact with Leia? Maybe it's because like she was told about him. But this makes sense in terms of their connection, in terms of you're my only hope. Like, therefore, you rescuing me from these separatists, I get this concept. So that's why I'm saying, like, this is good for a season and for a limited series. But I do agree with you, Eddie, in the sense that there could be room for there to be an expanded universe, which, they could do.
Certainly
fucking cut it out. Like, they could have easily done that and then removed the expanded universe. But it could just be a Game of Thrones type thing. The expanded universe in these comic books are deep, bro. Like, they, not even in the sense of like on a philosophical level, just they run really deep. They go, lore is very rich. So if that's something they're willing to look into, that would be amazing. But I just doesn't feel like Disney's willing to do that. I'm not going to go as far to say that this is a cash grab, but I do feel like it's a rush job, where it's like they didn't spend the time necessary for Obi-Wan, and granted COVID, granted all these other, we don't know what the scheduling is in this, but you can tell that this didn't have the time and care that it deserved, and that's very unfortunate.
But it just feels like that way with, like, I'm skeptical enough, or it just feels like everything Disney does recently, it feels like they don't have, like, the time or day to put enough passion into it more. It feels more like leaning towards, like, how are we going to make the most money off this product versus, like, actually create, like, something that belongs in this, like, legendary universe, And it's like, yeah, we got Ewan McGregor, hell yeah. And after that, like, that's what pulled me to the show, Like, I skipped Boba Fett. I wasn't really hyped on it. I'm probably going to go back and watch it eventually, but, like, I had to watch Obi-Wan, Ewan McGregor back and everything. That's what pulled me in, and then immediately I was like, whoa, I was bummed that it felt, exactly, it just felt like everything they've done, it's just so, it just felt mid, dude. It just, like, I like it, but I don't at the same time. I just wish there was more oomph. It just needs that that level. It just needs something more, and I can't put my finger on it either.
Well, I just feel like with George Lucas's Star Wars, they always seemed epic. Like, you can talk about like his choice to go fully green screen all day. You're blue in the face or blue as the wall, as it were. But like, when it comes down to it, he had the scale down. He had the scale perfect, right? And like, he was able to kind of navigate some of those things that I just feel like Disney just doesn't get, because they're worried that they're gonna like produce something that's gonna have some pushback against the fans, right? But like, and I think they made a risk with Rian Johnson and like having him direct The Last Jedi. And
I love
like,
Last Jedi. Love that shit. Love that shit. I want more of that.
Okay, side tangent from Obi-Wan, but like, I really liked when I first saw it. I loved Last Jedi. Right, it's a great movie. Right, that throne room fight scene, high key, if not the best, probably one of the top 3.
It's
best,
my favorite. That and Duel of the Fates are my 2 favorite fights.
Great fight scene, absolutely.
Those ones are amazing, but like,
I think like
as a trilogy, I just don't think it flowed. It didn't.
But yeah, I think. Oh yeah, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry, I'm very hyped about this. But it's like that's what we're talking about. I feel like Last Jedi, like, that's what they did. Yes, it was still the Skywalker story, but it was also about like shedding away like that what Disney's trying to do anymore. We got an auteur-focused Star Wars movie, you know? And like, I think it flowed pretty well with Episode 7, but like, it was Rise of Skywalker that really, they were like, oh, we gotta retcon it for the fans, you know? I think that's why it feels even worse within the trilogy. But like, viewing it as like I can see Last Jedi, and it feels like one person made decisions to make a movie, and like, I haven't felt that way since the Lucas movies, you know? Like, a creator is in charge of this project, and I haven't felt that in any of the Disney Plus shows, or like, Fallen Order, it kind of felt that way too, where it's such a focused story. Like, damn, I could tell, like, there was like passion in, like, from like, I don't know.
There's a lot of love.
Exactly. And it, like, I know, like, a lot of people, like, hate what it became and what it, like, stands for, but I think it's like it's a pretty optimistic story too of like where the series could have gone if it kept being like creator focused passion projects, because that's how I view Last Jedi still.
Well,
yeah,
my biggest thing about Last Jedi. Sorry, not to cut you off, Eddie. My biggest thing about Last Jedi, and I understand what Rian Johnson was trying to do. I think the reason why I didn't like it was because it felt like there was, even though it wasn't very much a very passionate project and it was a very altruistic approach to Star Wars, which we haven't seen in a long time, it felt muddled. And there are certain characters that got to shine and certain characters that didn't. I was mad as fuck that Finn just restarted his arc. And it was just like, yo, I've seen this already. Like, why are we doing arc? Why are we doing Finn like this? Who is this one character, the Asian girl who I'm unfortunately forgetting her name, but I like she was cool. What was her name?
Didn't they had like a
they had their kiss.
Like dying. Yeah, they had a kiss. I'm not gonna lie, that part right there, where I was like, oh, why?
Yeah, that was forced. It
was there's too many parts for this film that just didn't flow for me. Whereas like this shit, like the Skywalker thing, I was like, I get it. I understand what you're trying to do. I might not agree with it, but it makes sense in context of the story. But there's too many arcs in this, other than Leia and Adam Driver's character, that I just didn't like. It was just like, this was just kind of whack.
Yeah, but it also felt like that's like something even Two Towers did, where they stopped, like, yes, it was like character driven too, but like the whole thing was like all the characters are separated. I like it when like trilogies do that in the middle like movie too, where it's like our characters are separated and we kind of like start to learn like for everyone like what they're doing. It did very much was like, I don't even know if it's called like plot driven, but it was like very universe driven, you know? And like the characters were just like pawns in all this. Like we weren't focusing on just like one character or anything. I love like the sporadic nature of that movie.
Yeah. I would say that like I was a huge fan of Captain Phasma. I thought she was the most badass character that's come out that like from the new trilogy, and I felt like they just had her fall to her death. You know, like I wanted to see like.
Hey, but so did Boba Fett.
Honestly, just don't be armored in this series, and you'll be fine. Like walk
Yeah.
around with a rock, and you'll be chilling. Okay, the armor, done. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I am liking going back to Obi-Wan though. I am liking how the costumes for him. Like at first they're very plain. They're not very layered and everything. But as he's getting more and more in touch with the Force, it seems like it's especially going if you look at like A New Hope. It's very reminiscent to like A New Hope kind of costuming, especially with this last episode. He looked very much like Alec Guinness's Obi-Wan Kenobi costume, and I thought that is one thing you have to like give credit to. Like every single person that like does these series, does these kind of shows, is a fan, right? Like the reason why they're able to have so many cameos of people who want to be a part of this is because they genuinely want to do it. You know, like I keep saying it, Daniel Craig being a stormtrooper in like not helmet off, right? That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
I'm like probably a person that probably could have used it, but like like every single person is a fan of these series, and you can genuinely see that like they're putting every ounce of energy they can into like producing as good of a content in a very, very small box. You know
yeah. They need more time and space. It's just that Disney model where they like need to pump out product so like people can be in it. But like they need to realize, dude, people aren't gonna get bored of Star Wars just if you don't make a movie in 2 years. It's in the cultural zeitgeist for the rest of our lives and more. You know, it's infinite. Yeah. So take your time, make quality products. You know, like that's what I want.
100%.
Like I feel like if they'd had a 3-season arc, right? And they had the first one being like Obi-Wan going up against an Inquisitor, knocking that motherfucker out of the park, right? Then going up against Mace Windu, I can explain later. And then like when he finally goes up against Darth Vader, it would have been like when you finally like see him going up against Darth Vader, the intensity of it would have been built up over 3 seasons. Where like I'm trying to avoid this guy as much as humanly possible. Right, and when if he was to finally see him, it would have been a completely different sensation. Obviously, it's not what we're getting, and we have to live with that, right?
I think their fight came too early, though. That tension did not build enough to that original fight in episode 3. I think, yeah.
It was shocking, and I think that was the point. You know, I think it was shocking to for me. I personally wasn't expecting it. But like I was kind of like when it happened, I was like, okay, this is the direction they're going, and it seems like at least they have a vision of what they're trying to execute within these 6 episodes. You know, it didn't seem like kind of like a hodgepodge of like it didn't feel like Boba Fett, to be honest with you. Like Boba Fett, like half of the season is about like with Boba Fett, and the other half is like with the Mandalorian. You're like, I thought I was watching Boba Fett, you know, so like. Other than that, I think the only other thing that I was like kind of threw me out was the Imperial security. I think Fumba brought up a really good point. Like, if you want to get into the Imperial area, all you be heavily intimidating.
Yeah,
be like,
that scene was so goofy and generic, dude. Like you've seen that in 100 movies before.
It happens every movie. Dog.
Yeah,
it doesn't fail. All you have to do is be a dick.
So, you want me to tell the boss? That's all you gotta do.
I'll go to my manager. You be a fucking Karen, you will succeed so well.
That is the moral of Star Wars at this point.
Be a full
Dude, and when she escaped from those 2 stormtroopers and like that weak ass hit, she like just moved his like helmet. Whoa! And then she got the gun. I'm like, that could have been so much cooler, man.
Just like slapped him twice and against the gun.
Yeah, that was goofy, bro.
That's some Disney shit right there. That's Disney right there.
It is, yeah. That's the thing. I think Deborah Chow like makes a really good template for how the series is shot, but some of the blocking is missing for that added like impact. You know, imagine if she like just smacked him and takes the gun, and then you see like a top-down angle of her with the gun shooting the stormtrooper. Cut the scene right there. Yeah. Boom. That's it. But the blocking was missing. It was one shot of her doing all the things. Why? Like,
yeah.
You don't even
it looks
see her. You don't even need to see her shoot the stormtroopers, just to like heavily imply like she's probably killed them.
Yeah,
it's just like I don't know. It's just weird. It's very weird in terms of, you know what it is. Like Disney is very much on the same level as Marvel at this point. Where they
absolutely,
they're sticking to it, and it's just unfortunate because Star Wars doesn't work that way, because it's been established that it's more based on the interpersonal relationships of these characters And Marvel does do that, but the formula is so ingrained within Marvel that transferring that to Star Wars just doesn't compute well. Like,
Exactly.
it doesn't mesh. Like, so it's just weird that we're trying to force this into it. And it doesn't. I'm not gonna say it's a bad series. It's a great. I'm enjoying this. I'm genuinely having fun with Obi-Wan. It's just weird to see how much of an influence that it has, and it does tank the experience to a certain So it's just kind of weird.
I have to say, I think this is I've been watching the show, not really feeling, but this is the first episode I have to say I really enjoyed watching, just because it was 38 minutes, full infiltration episode, not a lot of dialogue or anything. It's just get in, get out. You have your clear cut goal, and I really fucked with that. The pacing in this episode was fantastic. Up until the end, and then Wade died. I was like, who? And then and then we're out.
Shouts out to my nigga O'Shea Jackson.
Oh, that was him, right?
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
I was like, damn, hell yeah, dude, get that bag.
I thought he was waiting. I thought he died. Yeah, I thought he died there. I was like, damn, man, they did him dirty.
Yeah.
I was like, you gonna do my guy O'Shea? Get him got it. That's crazy.
No, he's flying the other jet. He's fine. The other guy,
It was like when they thought they killed Chewbacca in fucking Rise of Skywalker. It was like, oh, no, he was in the other plane. It's cool. So dumb, bro.
Okay, yeah. No. Overall, though, where do you guys think that it's going to go? We have two episodes left. Where exactly do you think that we're going to go? And do we have any predictions on where they're going to leave the season? Really, the series, I should say. Not even the season.
Narratively framing, I already said, I think Reva's going to explain her backstory in the next episode, and then she's going to have her comeback moment in episode 6. And I think in episode 6 too, we're going to have a moment where Anakin takes off the mask and tries to talk to Obi-Wan.
I'd be so game.
I think it has to, especially because they were hyping up Hayden Christensen the whole time. He hasn't gotten a lot of screen time. I think they need to make up for that in episode 6. But yeah, I don't really know specifics of where it's going to go. I just feel the narrative, this is something that we've seen before,
Yeah.
I definitely have a feeling that it's more or less the same with Abi, but I feel like it might not be in episode 5, but it's definitely in episode 6. There has to be a conversation with Qui-Gon.
Ooh, you think so?
Please.
I feel like that would be such a missed opportunity if you don't. Yeah. Where he has to, it doesn't have to be a long exchange, but a quick exchange of words from Liam Neeson, where
he said he'd be willing to do it. So
he says he's down.
Oh, he does? Hell yeah.
Yeah,
and if he's not, they're gonna deep fake it anyways.
Give him $50,000. He'll be fine. Fine. Yeah. I'd be like, all right, fine, yeah, all right, you can use it.
Yeah, what's he doing? He's doing just B movies for the past 5-6 years. Taken 5, yeah. Come back to Star Wars. We want you.
Yeah, no, I absolutely feel like there has to be a Qui-Gon moment, or at least he has to get in touch with the Force and talk to his master, because it's not as though there has to be a reason why he's able to live forever, right? Or to be one with the Force. And I feel like that connection to Qui-Gon, who was supposed to teach him how to do that anyway, has to be established somewhere in the series.
Mm.
So, and if it's not, I'll be mad confused.
The opportunity's there to clear things up, they gotta take it.
Exactly.
Well, they do have to get Obi-Wan to that point where he's able to become a ghost. He's got there has to be some form of training that has to take place. I thought it was going to happen last episode, but they were too busy trying to deal with having to rescue Leia, right? Great episode, but there has to be this point where he's trained on how to become a Force ghost, on how to communicate beyond the realm of just this physical world that we live in,
Yeah.
So I'm really hoping what you're saying, Fumba, I'm hoping that they do something like that. They have to. They have to. The opportunity's there.
Yeah. They need some Avatar Roku, explaining how to go to the spirit world kind of shit, But even Avatar is so inspired off Star Wars, dude. I just was rewatching that last year, And it's like a lot of those elements are there. It's sick.
It's the hero's journey to a fucking T, dude.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I would say, like, I forgot about it. One of my favorite scenes from this episode was the healing tank scenes where, like, he's like seeing like what Anakin or what Vader's doing, and like you could see that they're having this conversation. Like,
yeah.
That was really cool.
And it felt genuine because, like, of the fact that they punched in on both of them really early, you know, and then you see like him playing with his hand, and then the fact that Anakin doesn't have a hand or legs or anything really. He's just kind of a torso of a person anymore.
Yeah.
Like, why has no one ever thought of, like, if you're gonna go get Darth Vader, why has no one thought, like, maybe get him while he's in his bathtub? You know what I'm saying? Like, no one's ever thought of it.
Just like slip some arsenic in the fucking tub.
Yeah, you know.
You just destroyed the entire franchise, Eddie. Right there.
Sorry.
But for real, I really like that scene.
It was such a great scene. Like, I feel like they what they're doing so well with these seasons, especially with what I think, especially this last trilogy in the movies. Like, they do a really good job of, like, explaining, like, how people can feel each other within the Force. They did it in the previous episode where Obi-Wan sees Darth Vader, but, like, in Anakin not burnt up.
That was also a great scene.
Beautiful because of the fact, like, he doesn't know that Darth Vader looks like that, you know. And to see Christensen, that guy's got, like, the most intimidating stare ever. Like, perfect casting.
He kills it. Yeah,
he does, man. He just hits it out of the park. I feel bad genuinely to what, like, Hollywood's done to him, though.
Yeah.
Or, like, film industry, because he's actually, like, if you look at films before he got Star Wars, he's a really good actor, you know. And I just feel like Star Wars kind of did him dirty, you know. Like, he just, like, he hasn't really had that much of a career after that, and that's kind of crazy.
I think it's just the Star Wars impact. Like, it's such a big franchise, and it gets so much. There's, like, there's a lot of love for it too, but, like, there's gonna be hate no matter what from, like, some side or the other, you know. And this, like, ends up ruining, like, even John Boyega's career, dude, has been suffering, like, for a long ass time, like, and he deserves. He's a great actor. Attack the Block, one of the best fucking movies in the past decade.
Crazy.
Yeah, love that shit, dude. I love John Boyega. Like, he needs more shit. And he was doing who's the guy who directed 12 Years a Slave? Steve McQueen, right? He had that Amazon Prime miniseries where John Boyega played, like, an ex-cop. Amazing, dude. He's such a fantastic actor. Like,
Brooklyn was that what it was called?
Brooklyn.
Oh, I think so. I think they're all, like, one-word names. Yeah.
He was a.
Oh, it was called Red, White. I think it was called Red, White, and Blue. His episode.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Steve McQueen's crazy, but, like, it's just.
Go ahead, sorry.
It's the curse.
I feel you.
Nah, man, it's just the curse of Star Wars. Like, this is what it is. Like, it's always a hot buzz word whenever it comes to anything that's nerd culture, but it's proven true in Star Wars. There are a lot of incels. A lot of, like, nerd incels.
It's a very hateful community, and it's like it's not all of it, but it's there.
Like, it's not all of it. It's just it is there and it's present, and it's like a sense of entitlement when it comes to Star Wars. Like, Star Wars is ours, and we have a right to say how we feel and also control what the narrative is. And it's like, that's not how this works at all. This is owned by George Lucas. Even with the prequels, I don't like the prequels, but I'm never gonna say that George Lucas fucked up by making the prequels.
Yeah,
like, that's his vision. That's the closest to his vision he ever attempted to get to. So, like, I admire his vision. I admire his goals, and also without him, we wouldn't fucking have Star Wars.
Yeah,
So it's like, it's always really unfortunate. Even the hate with Reva, like, to get into that standpoint,
it's ridiculous.
It's so unfortunate. Where it's like, why are you hating the actress for a role she plays? Like, your detachment from reality is so, it's just insane. Where it doesn't make any sense that you can hate this person for playing a character.
Yeah, it's just that fan entitlement. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, but, like, I respect the hell out of Ewan McGregor. I almost said Obi-Wan Kenobi. Out of McGregor for like, I mean, I don't know if you guys saw the video, but he came out like, and he was like, the hate that's going on with her, like, you're not a Star Wars fan if you're hating on Reva, or like, forgive me, I forgot the actress's name, but like to hate on her for like playing a character, you're not a Star Wars fan. And I love the fact that like Obi-Wan, like Ewan McGregor has a lot of clout when it comes down to Star Wars fans. He is very much accepted, and when you watch a Ewan McGregor film, you're low-key watching it because he's played in Star, like he gained so much stardom because of Star Wars, right? Not to say that he wasn't a star before. I mean, Trainspotting is one of the most amazing films I've ever seen.
Love that movie, dude. Grew up with that movie.
So good, so good. But for him to actually like really embody the Obi-Wan Kenobi kind of mantra, right, and kind of like to actually to speak to fans and be like, you fans that are saying that you're fans and like hating on her because she's of a different ethnicity and of a different race, you're not a genuine Star Wars
like you
fan,
don't like that's the point Star Wars is all about, like
Literally.
the dark side, hatred, and what hatred can do to you. Like, how dense can you be to not understand that?
Yo, like, literally, the failure to understand the irony of this is so fucking crazy. And generally speaking, you know, like, when it comes to them saying, like, this doesn't make sense in this narrative, my defense is always just like, who gives a fuck? The Force, like, I got this. I'm admittedly getting this from cinema wins, but who gives a fuck? The Force is a Deus Ex Machina by design. It's like meant to be like a getaway free card in any scenario, because the Force doesn't make any fucking sense. If you look in context of the actual story, it could be anything and anyone. It's like a Force, any person, and that's the whole concept of this. Anyone could be Force sensitive. Everyone is Force sensitive. It's just some people are more than others. Yeah. And in the context of certain storytelling structures and character arcs, however you feel that a character should act is not up to you. It's up to how the story is designed within context. If it betrays the previous story structure, sure, that's up for debate. But for you to go out of your way to seek a person's Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, whatever the fuck, and then tell them that they're bad,
like spewing hatred, like that's all you're doing.
Yeah. Like, that doesn't make any sense. That's not the way of the Jedi.
It's not, dude.
It's not the way of being a good fucking human being. Like, just be a good human being. You don't need to worry about the Force, fucker. You just need to be a good person.
Like, how hard is it, dude, not to talk shit? Like, especially like, oh my god.
Difficult. Have you been on Twitter? That fucker, like, it's difficult. It's difficult. I avoid that, like, because I feel like Twitter is like a cesspool of hate, and
it is
just like. I don't see any reason to join something like that. But yeah, I completely agree with you, Funko. But like, I genuinely like respect the fact that like Ewan McGregor is just embodying that Obi-Wan Kenobi kind of ideology. Like, just spew out hate. Just be just be loving. Just not hate.
Yo, just hate on him.
No,
you're gonna have to splice that clip of Eddie saying "spew out hate."
Spew out hate. Spew all the hate.
Yeah, man.
Nah, but like, you know, like, just be loving, be kind to each other, you know, like, being kind take you so much further in this world than just being an asshole.
Yeah.
You know, and hating on somebody else, because like that's the dream, that's the gig of the lifetime, to get cast as an Inquisitor in a Star Wars series. That's like, I would love that. That would be amazing. You know, to have your own like armor and suits and lightsabers that's like specifically designed for you. You're in the mythos forever now, you know, like that right there is beautiful. And I love the fact that like there is like the fact that he said that to so many people. I feel like everyone was like, anybody that was saying any negative shit about her, by the fact that he stood up to the fandom, which takes an incredible amount of like courage, I feel like, you know, to actually stand up to Star Wars fandom. The fact that he did that, and I feel like it shut everybody up that was being an asshole, you know what I mean?
Again, the actress, I'm forgetting her name.
Moses Ingram for Reva,
yeah, but yo, shouts out to her for her defense, or not even defense, just talking about it, where it's like, you know, this is part of what it is to be part of Star Wars. Unfortunately, you're gonna have a lot of hate. I still love Star Wars. I'm still about it. Y'all motherfuckers is weird. And then she signed off. That's the odds.
Fuck yeah. That's all you gotta say.
Yeah.
Motherfuckers are weird. You guys are weird.
She was like sharing some of like the racist fucking shit she was getting in her DMs. Like, what does it take for you to like do that? It's like these people don't see beyond Star Wars. They like forget what real life is. It's like this has become like so invested in them. And yeah, like fuck yeah, fandoms can be awesome, but we're at this age where there's like so much toxicity in like every fandom, you know, and like. Yeah. All you're seeing is what's in front of you, and not like the people who actually fucking put in the work to do this. And like, these are real human beings. She's not Reva. Like, how do you fucking? I don't know.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
It's just like if that's all you have, and that's all you have, but then that's fundamentally you are flawed as a person, you know. And not even like to diss these people. That's not even what I'm trying to do. It's just like if you're going so far as to denounce a human being for a role they play in a story that's made up about space something you have to like on your life.
Like, bro, this is a franchise where a green fucking small ass puppet is a god, you know? Like come on. Like, it's a fun series, like just
just have fun.
No, I wish that they just kept the damn puppet, you know? Just keep the puppet.
Yeah.
Why you gotta make Yoda CGI? Although that CGI fight in Attack of the Clones was pretty lit. I'm not gonna lie. He was not upset about that. I thought it was amazing. I thought it was.
That's probably the only scene I like in Attack of the Clones, and then the whole factory scene comes, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like C-3PO, like CG C-3PO hanging on with R2 behind him, like, what the hell? This feels like a PS2 video game.
Exactly what it is. Exactly what it is. Yo, but on that point, I mean, like Ewan McGregor was saying, be loving. Don't hate people. Don't be an asshole. That's not exactly what he said. Fill in the blank, people.
Yeah.
But leave your theories about what you guys are hoping for the rest of the series down below, and we'll be doing another 2 episodes for the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, and we hope to see you guys in the future. Thanks for watching, guys.
Yeah. Cheers, guys. Thank
Peace.
you.